12-month, $2 million campaign to do 4 things. Increase climate literacy, turn up the volume on communities of color in the climate conversation, connect everyday people with the resources they need to survive and thrive, and highlight frontline climate justice crusaders of color throughout this year. KBLA Talk 1580 will be bringing you insightful interviews on all of our shows to help raise your climate IQ. Each quarter this year, we will also be hosting free climate events in various communities throughout the city with food, fun, and forward-thinking conversations. Thanks to partners like LADWP, Metro, Caltrans, the Sierra Club, the California Community Foundation, the California Endowment, AQMD, MWD, and more. You'll also be hearing more about a couple of national town halls broadcasting live from Los Angeles, to which you will be invited. And we'll be rolling out a robust social media campaign on all our platforms, as well as an outdoor media campaign, all designed to educate, enlighten, and empower you in our fight for climate justice.
We want cleaner air.
Caring about the community means caring about the climate. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that we really can change the world if we care enough. 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 If we care enough.
Pinky ring, we're about to be deep. Two-tone my Lambo, that's drippy. But I left the bottle, now she tipsy. Can't trust these hoes cause they hippie. I know that your best friend gon' slide now. Party at my house, that's a vibe now. All alone, these like LeBron now. She spitting off the top, that's a freestyle. Hey, I'm about to run it up. I'm about to pull up in that motherfucking Billy truck. Got some bad bitches in it, about to beat up. And we taking shit over just to sum it up, sum it up. Yeah, I need my commas, look. I ain't playing, man, I put that on my mama and shoot. 24 on the jersey just for mama and shoot. Vince Carter on the beat, I put my arm through the rim. It's your birthday, put your hands in the air, it's your birthday. And you know we don't give a fuck, it's not your birthday. You should be doing that back in the first place. It's breezy, know you heard of me, ooh yeah. Pinky ring, we're about to be deep. Two-tone my Lambo, that's drippy. But I left the bottle, now she tipsy. Can't trust these cause they hippie. I know that your best friend gon' slide now. Party at my house, that's a vibe now. All alone, these like LeBron now. She's spitting off the top, that's a freestyle. I'm about to turn it up.
Welcome back into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Go off, Chris Brown. You know, I have some Chris Brown news. Kind of. Little bit. Right now in Paris, it is Fashion Week jumping off. So a lot of your favorites are over there. And at, I'm not sure what show it was, but Chris Brown and Quavo were sat next to each other. And if you don't know, Chris Brown don't mess with Quavo. He's called him out in the past. He has beef with him. And I think a great deal of it stems from the fact that Quavo was dating CB's ex for a while, Karrueche. Now, we know Karrueche Tran and Chris Brown have been broken up for about, 6 or 7 years now? Something like that. It's been a minute. But, you know, Chris is like, what did they say that Diddy said one time? Allegedly. I love all my girls. And, you know, he's angry. He even put on his Instagram stories something about you can't help where you get seated. But sounds like he's like Cardi B. He got beef forever with Quavo. Chris, you got like 3 kids since then, and Rihanna has 2 more and has moved around. Although she is out in Paris for Fashion Week right now. But let it go, Chris. Let it go. Okay, so listen, you know who Erica Alexandra is. She is an actress. She was Max on Living Single back in the day. Currently, she's starring alongside Jeffrey Wright, Sterling K. Brown, Tracy Ellis Ross, Leslie Uggams in the film American Fiction. Well, she recently did an interview with The Breakfast Club where she talked about the precarious place that Black entertainers find themselves in currently. And one of the things that she said that she feels is tripping us up as a culture is that we rely too much on the language of our oppressors. Let's check it out.
I saw. I think I read American Fiction has made almost $6 million at the box office with a budget of like almost $2 million, if I'm not mistaken.
It's the budget was more. I think it was over $5 million.
It was over $5 million?
Yes.
Okay, but it's very critically acclaimed. But then I see like Book of Clarence had a budget of like $40 million, but they've only made $3 million at the box office. Color Purple had a budget of $140 million. They made close to $60 million. So what do you feel the route to go is when you're making black cinema?
Well, first of all, we shouldn't call it black cinema. Mm-hmm. We should call it cinema. Mm-hmm. They've done that to television. When they started saying that we were on a black show, suddenly those marketing dollars went down here. When you're on the Jeffersons, when you're on even Sanford and Son or What's Happening, those were shows on NBC and ABC. They were sandwiched right between MASH and other shows. Mm-hmm. And I think that was a paradigm shift that actually harmed us. We're always using the oppressor's language to define us. Black music, what's that? All this music is ours. But it starts to categorize us and put, it's redlining. And so that's a problem. We shouldn't call it black cinema. We should call it cinema. And we should also know that those marketing dollars and the promotion is not the same. And when we were on Living Single, unfortunately, we were mostly sent to cities of color, D.C., Atlanta. And we said, look, can we go to Peoria? We have fans all over, but they didn't want to spend the money. So then therefore, they're limiting their own bottom line. Why are they doing that? Because was the Cosby Show a black show or was it a television show? Mm-hmm. Just after that, they started to create the type of language and very distinctive around television shows. They had already done it with music, but around television shows. And we've paid the price. And unless we get in there and look at the system and diagnose the real problem, because it is systemic, and it starts at representation and all those things that know those numbers and yet continue to offer their clients as less than valuable, then we'll never get past the problem.
You're absolutely right. I wonder, because a lot of times we do it out of a sense of pride, right? Like we say black music, black film, but I guess we're kind of doing that to our own detriment business-wise.
Right. Saying a black book. That's what American Fiction Party is about, is that he doesn't want to be in a category of black anything. He wants to say, I'm an author that happens to be black. And Toni Morrison talked about it, saying very famously that everyone's seen the clip where the woman asked her, would you ever write about white characters the way you write? She goes, do you know no idea how insulting that is? Because you would never ask a white author that. But you presume that we want to be in your world. She said, I'm writing my book, and it's about the characters that I know. So it's not meant to be a book that's meant for black people. It's meant to be a book for everybody. Mm-hmm. But we don't say those things to anyone else. So black people are constantly being attacked by an American paradigm that's locked us in a black identity, which is an identity crisis for them. It makes them schizophrenic. They have no idea where to put us. But with music, that music is all of ours. Rock and roll, punk, metal, all of ours. So why are we excluded from country and being seen as rock and rollers? Why is Little Richard demanding that even while he's passing away and can't make a living, can't pay his rent? And we have Lisa Cortez make that great documentary. But we shouldn't have to do that after they pass away. Mm-hmm. We should be working toward that right now to destroy those things that are destroying us.
When we come forward, we will get more into Erica's comments and what I think and sort of the dichotomy that we are in as far as Black people wanting to support, but at the same time wanting to acknowledge that our stories for everyone and the position that puts us in. So we'll get into that and more of Erica's comments on the other side. RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Got me a damn girl on my team.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe we have the best tag team in morning radio. Dominique DePrima and Tavis Smiley as the first Black woman in Los Angeles to anchor a morning drive talk radio show. Dominique covers local politics like a blanket. Weekday mornings from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. At 9 a.m., Dominique passes the baton to Tavis Smiley, who talks to everybody about everything every day until 12 noon. KBLA's dynamic duo, Dominique and Tavis. It's no wonder the LA Civil Rights Department is honoring Dominique DePrima this year at its Tell Our Story honoring black journalist leaders and storytellers event, Thursday, February 8th. Or that the John M. Langston Bar Association of Los Angeles is honoring Tavis Smiley at its 47th Annual Installation and Scholarship Awards Gala with its Community Impact Award on February 10th. We couldn't be more proud of Dominique and Tavis, who make black history every day, not just in February. If you're missing Dominique and Tavis weekday mornings on KBLA Talk 1580, you're missing out. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
Holla, yeah.
Environmental justice is racial justice.
Environmental justice is social justice.
This is KBLA Talk 1580.
With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than choosing Charles Barkley in a pickup game.
We'll take Barkley.
Ha! First pick. Sorry, kids.
Yep, even easier than that. With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, is it even a decision?
Okay, here's the plan. Pass me the ball every time.
This is banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. Pro Football Hall of Famer and urban peace pioneer Jim Brown believed in just that. So he founded the Amera I Can Foundation for Social Change in 1988, focusing on at-risk and high-risk youth in underserved schools and juvenile detention facilities, as well as adult incarceration and reentry initiatives. The core of the Amera I Can program is its 15-chapter life skills curriculum. Mastery of these skills allows individuals to meet their academic potential, conform their behavior to acceptable societal standards, and improve the quality of their lives by equipping them with what they need to confidently and successfully contribute to society. Today, the foundation is led by its president, Monique Brown, who has been actively involved in the organization for more than 25 years. The Amera I Can Foundation continues its work in memory of its founder, actor, philanthropist, and NFL legend Jim Brown. To get involved or make a donation, please visit AmeriICanCommunity.partners. That's AmeriICanCommunity.partners. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So Erica Alexander, she said quite a bit. I thought it was interesting because I never thought about the fact that we did not really call it black TV until that golden era of the 90s, and while she has a point, very strongly so, about how, the marketing dollars and the shift came. And the thing is, as far as like what a black show is labeled under, the interesting thing that I found, for example, when I worked at BET, it was always said across the board, as far as viewership, that much like with consumerism, black TV viewers on average watch more TV than most of the other races. This was a long time ago. I'm not sure if these numbers are still currently relevant. But the point in that was, even in knowing that, advertisers, however that was set throughout the companies at the time, like Viacom was the company's name at the time, the overhead company, which also had MTV, VH1, Comedy Central, etc. underneath. The ad rates for BET were always lower than those other networks, even though overall, when you looked at it, BET had better ratings. It is a thing that seems to happen to us reoccurring. But the question that I have to ask with that is, we hear a conversation at times now about how was, why am I blanking on the obvious word? Not assimilation. What is it? Okay, so we had segregation the joining together, I guess that is assimilation, but was it really good for the black community? Because when we were segregated, we had our own banks, we had our own systems that we relied upon, and we were in some ways more independent. So wanting to come together under the big umbrella of we're all just people, that's when sometimes the individualisms get lost. The too black, too strong, the things that are culturally relevant for us, you may let some of those fall by the wayside in order to have a more simpatico sort of situation where everyone is, together. And what was that popular commercial in the 70s? Remember, you guys may not remember, but there was a Coke commercial in the 70s. And I think they kind of tried to recreate that feeling with the Pepsi commercial a few years back with Kendall Jenner, where it's like, I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. And it was like people all over the world having a bottle of Coke. And it somehow brought people together, and it was so wholesome. And we aren't at a time where that kind of programming or commercial propaganda, to a degree, works anymore. But it is interesting that something that we struck out as a source of pride, because you think about those early 90s shows like The Cosby Show, like late 80s, early 90s, like A Different World, even Martin and Living Single. You think about how the black colleges, sweatshirts and so forth were shown on national TV, something that at that time wasn't heavily discussed. I don't know about people outside of the South during that time period that were heavily in the know, per se, about the HBU system in a city like LA where we don't have HBCUs. Nothing close, So it's an interesting phenomenon how something that we took as a source of pride, much like, the N-word, if you think about it, flipping a negative into a positive, also can be detrimental in some ways at the same time. Because on its surface, what's wrong with saying it's a black TV show and having pride in that? We just celebrated how there was an all-black production team behind the Emmys the other day. But how much does it hamper us? Because the general population doesn't necessarily relate or thinks that it is something that they can't enjoy too, just because they're not centered. Forgetting, of course, that for the majority of our lives and most of the things that we enjoy as far as culture and entertainment, we are looking at something that is not made for us. And, we learn to understand your culture, your humor, all of those things with no problem. We can still laugh and still want to see stuff for us. So I thought that point was interesting that she made. She also brought up how, choosing the best or a winner when it comes to art is sort of unfair inherently, because every piece of art stands right on its own, and it's not a competition. And sometimes you really can't compare two things. They're just both what they are. They're both good. They both do something for you, whether it affects the same part, something totally different. But in that, we also know the importance of getting these accolades and awards. What it does, it brings more attention to us. Sometimes it brings more money to us. It allows others to be aware of our talents, our gifts, and then in turn want to spend more money, perhaps. But it's a vicious cycle, because once again, it sets us up for what does success look like, and is getting something made and putting it out there, a product that people enjoy but maybe wasn't as commercially successful, still a failure. We're asked to grapple with those questions all the times and with many things. Is quality simply judged by how much money it earns? Doesn't seem fair. And we know there's lots of circumstances and examples that we can think of across any spectrum of life that success can't necessarily be quantified by the outward trappings of it, but we do. So this is what she had to say about awards and how it impacts us and our art.
Do awards matter to you? Because,
Yes.
I know American Fiction, she said, yes, no question.
Yes.
Yes, because American Fiction was even nominated for Best Motion Picture Musical Comedy at the Golden Globes. And I saw you on Tamron Hall, and they're talking about Oscar buzz around your role in American Fiction. So they do matter.
Charlamagne, I wish they didn't. But this world puts a premium on people who win awards. And I think if we can't make content that is uniquely on a black subject, a subject that has a black person in it and has agency, and can't prove that we can make the dollars, that's another award, box office and awards, then they'll keep putting us in the cultural ghetto. And we can't afford to be there anymore. So I think that it's all right for us to shoot for it, but we need to acknowledge how many people never got those awards, and we're still inside of that. So if you look at the great Felicia Rashad, who never got an Emmy for her work.
Crazy.
Wow. Patricia Heaton got 8 for Everybody Loves Raymond. No shade to her. Where's Felicia's? Where's Cecily Tyson before they gave her an honorary Oscar?
Angela Bassett.
Exactly. Why? What is that? So no, those awards matter, and people want them because they think it's going to also help their trajectory of their work. Lou Gossett said it didn't help at all. It said it ruined his career. I think so. I don't want to speak for him. He's still here to speak for himself, but I think it was because suddenly people didn't want to pay him what he was worth. They didn't want to, next, remember I told you, next, you asking for too much. Really? Are we? From the great Lou Gossett? So it's, I think, a catch-22. We need to have it. We shouldn't expect it, and don't be brokenhearted if that happens. The award is the love that you get from the audience. Every day I go out, whether it's at the bank or otherwise, I get love from everybody. Jewish, black, white, all of that. Every in between, it doesn't matter whether it's working class, all of that. That's sustained me, and I will forever be grateful for that. That is payment. And I think that Taraji understood that.
The love.
But she wants what she's earned. We'd like what we earned, and we're demanding it, but we have no way to get there. And that's frustrating.
So, one, I think that, we can't, within anything, right? If you are awarded, people pay more attention. People pay attention to winners. Unfortunately, superficial, however you want to look at it, that is just the reality of certain things, that people look at winners or what they perceive to be winners, right? Those are the ones that everybody wants to know the backstory. And no, it is not the only way to quantify success, but to her point, when you get those things, sometimes the money and whatever seems to follow. Now, you could look at Monique, who got an Oscar, and I don't know, much like Lou Gossett, I don't know if it helped her. Jury's still out. We know it helped Halle Berry. But did it? I don't know. Octavia Spencer got one a couple years ago. So it's interesting. Andy?
I think that argument only works well with sports, right? If you're a champion, people pay attention to you. But when it comes to TV, film, music,
you don't think it helps with music?
Not really, because I understand what you're trying to say, but I don't know if that applies all the way around, because I look back years ago when Macklemore won was a hip hop album of the year,
right?
When we all know it was supposed to be Kendrick.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? People are still gonna listen to Kendrick. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to awards and accolades in the film music industry, I don't know if that creates, yes, it does create attention while you're watching said award show, but at the end of the day, Kendrick still has his fans. People gonna tap in and listen. So, when it comes to accolades and stuff like that, as far as attention goes, I think maybe more so on sports than I see, when it comes to TV, film, and music.
Interesting. I think that it's certainly situational. I think that it is interesting when it comes to us, because for so long those big awards or those main awards, we weren't a part of those conversations or on those stages, you know? And it's just been in the past couple of years, coinciding with the racial reckoning and things like Oscars So White, that we are getting these awards. And of course, there's questions. Are they shut up awards? Do they really feel, you know, there's a lot of conversation around that. And not that I think it's fair, but I understand the questions, because it's like, it's the rush to, we have to make up for this past 15, 20 years where we have obviously been letting our biases be on display. But at the same time, when they decide to do it all at once, like, you know, whether it's liberal tears, white tears, however you want to term it, you know, coming forward, sometimes the best options that we would like as far as art don't get acknowledged just because they didn't happen to be made in a time when people are like, oh no, we have to make this right. It's such a curious place and position as far as awards and things like that. But I do think that she was absolutely right, because it does give a certain amount of prestige, and it makes people, you know, take some steps back. I loved what Niecy Nash had to say at the Emmys the other night with her Best Supporting Emmy, where she was like, I want to thank me, because nobody knows what I've been through. Nobody knows the heartache, the tears, the times I said I want to give up, et cetera, et cetera. And it's acknowledgement of that. And everybody wants to feel seen at certain moments. So, you know, we got a call before we get into the break. We got Fahima on the line. Hi, Fahima. Happy Monday. How are you?
Hey, Jill. I've been MIA because I've been in them Twitter spaces, as you know.
I see.
So I've been MIA.
You got to get off of that, Fahima.
Nah, man.
It's too toxic on them.
Oh, no, but I'm not in those ones. I'm in certain ones, specific ones of higher learning. But anyway, I was going to wait till you started talking about Dave Chappelle, because I wanted to comment on that. But I wanted to say, okay, did Kendrick Lamar won awards for Pimp a Butterfly?
I can't remember. He may have won awards for us, but he didn't. I don't think he won a Grammy for that.
Well, my point is, but he did subsequently win awards, did he not?
Yes.
And this paved the way for him to do the soundtrack for Black Panther. What happens is these awards do mean something, particularly for music artists, but when it comes to those on the stage and screen, what happens, just like Alexander had said, they don't want to pay you. You know, you got the sister who was an EGOT. We just mentioned her. She did The Woman King and The Help with Octavia Spencer.
Viola Davis.
Viola Davis.
I'm going to put a pin in you, because we have about 10 seconds left, and when we come forward, we're going to circle back to you, because I have something on that topic, and we're going to answer that Kendrick question. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Off the top, that's a freestyle. Yeah, let's play it, but it makes me feel away. Just make it shake. I want you to put it all in my face. Make it nasty, baby. Walked in, her friends locked in. Top 10, toxic I am. Yes, ma'am. And if they hate on you, I'ma have to kick them out 'cause it's your birthday.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. Maryland Governor Wes Moore's 2025 budget proposal he unveiled last week includes funding for renovations to Harbor Place and for demolition of vacant housing in Baltimore. Another Baltimore initiative included in his budget blueprint is money for a Department of Juvenile Services program that launched last year in Baltimore City and Baltimore County. Moore, who is black, says the $63.1 billion spending plan focuses on 4 priorities, including making Maryland safer, more affordable, and more competitive, while ensuring Maryland is the state that serves. Attorneys for one of the former Memphis police officers charged in the death of Tyree Nichols wants a change of venue for his client's trial. Demetrius Haley's defense says the case has been covered by the media extensively in the area, so getting a fair trial will be difficult. Tyree Nichols, who was black, died several days after a violent confrontation with Memphis police officers in January of 2023. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Did you know Discover wants everyone to feel special? That's why with your Discover card, you have access to 24/7 customer service, as well as $0 fraud liability, which means you're never held responsible for unauthorized purchases. Learn more at discover.com/credit card. Limitations apply.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do Black history every single day. In fact, as the only Black talk radio station west of the Mississippi, we are Black history. Our annual Black History Month luncheon is fast approaching, and we want to be sure to give you ample time to get your company, organization, church, or group to join us at this year's celebration on the last day of the month, Thursday, February 29th at noon. Last year, we honored iconic local Black media personalities, including Pat Harvey, Jim Hill, Mark Brown, Beverly White, Sandy Banks, and Pat Prescott, and raised $20,000 in scholarships. This year, we're honoring Black Hollywood creatives who have used their artistic genius as climate justice champions. At this year's luncheon, we will be showcasing and sharing their inspiring work on our big screen. Plus, a scrumptious meal, live music, great company, and lots of fun with your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts. So contact us today at info@smileyaudio.com or call 323-290-4690. That's info@smileyaudio.com or call 323-290-4690. We hope to see you Thursday, February 29th as we close out Black History Month. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your Black.
Cover California is a free service from the state that's already helped millions of people like you get and pay for health insurance. With financial help to lower the cost of health coverage, you could get a quality health plan for less than $10 a month. Every plan covers preventive care, doctor visits, emergency care, and more. If you have questions, we're here to help every step of the way. Cover California, this way to health insurance. Enroll by January 31st at coveredca.com.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Jackson Hewitt has a plan to get your tax refund fast with a buck here, buck there. Here a buck, there a buck, everywhere a buck.
You don't have to wait weeks for your tax refund. Get money sooner with a no-fee refund advance loan at Jackson Hewitt.
On this loan, there's a money today guarantee. E-I-E-I-DO.
Don't settle for chicken feed. Get fast bucks at Jackson Hewitt today. No-fee refund advance loans by Republic Bank offered to eligible clients. Money today guarantee if approved for a loan on a prepaid card. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
The thing no one tells you about periods is that your flow changes every day, and so should your tampon size. Tampax has 5 absorbencies to match your changing flow. If it hurts to remove, go down a size. If it leaks, go up a size. Only Tampax has a leak guard braid to help give you up to 100% leak and odor-free protection. All-day comfort and protection for under $5 a month. Based on average U.S. consumer usage at manufacturer suggested price. However, pricing is at the sole discretion of the retailer. Excludes 8-count packs.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio that's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Pick up the phone every time my call is going to voicemail. Don't tell me they got you on some weirdo rap call me on Shanika's phone.
I've been A1 since day one, you boo-boo. Your homeboy, your block that you're from, boo-boo. Lil' you went to school with, boo-boo. Baby mama and you knew, boo-boo. We was in the hood, 14 with the deuce. 14 years later, going hard like we used to on the dead homies. On the dead homies. I don't give a about no politics and rap, man. Our little homies done a deuce, ain't never coming back, man. So you better go hard every time you jump on wax, man. What they talk about, yo, this where it's at, man. Came in this game, you stuck your fangs in this game. You want no chain in this game, your hood, your name in this game. Now you double up, time to bubble up the bread and huddle up. Stick it to the spritz, now yip them Benjamins, go cuddle up. Skip, hop, drip, drop, flip, flop with the white tube sock. It goes. That's what the products smell like when the chemicals mix. 50 niggas salute out the Compton Zoo with the extras. Elcos, Monte Carlos, Roll Kings and dressers. Rip Riders, P-Funkers, Mexicans, they with you. Asians, they with you. Nobody can. I've been A1.
Welcome back in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Little Kendrick to get us off. So the question Fahima asked before we went on break is if Kendrick won any Grammys for To Pimp a Butterfly. And there were 11 Grammy nominations. He won 5. So he did that.
But was one of them Album of the Year?
He won Best Rap Album. I don't think a hip hop album has won Album or Record of the Year. I think that is one of the conversations being had. Like, I could be wrong. Fact check me if y'all know. I certainly will look it up and circle back at some point, but I don't think that a rap or a hip-hop record has won either of those 2 awards.
So the Macklemore controversy, that was for Best Rap Album then?
Yeah, it was, or Best Male Rap Performance. I don't, let's see, what did Macklemore win his Grammy for? He won several, if I recall. He won it for rap album, rap song, and music video. Yeah, so he beat Kendrick for Best Rap Album. So not the Big Daddy, but, you know, still, it's been 10 years since that happened. Do people say, throw on that Macklemore? I bet they don't. I bet they don't even remember it as one of the top songs from 2014, even though technically, it was. Let's go ahead and bring Fahima back in. Fahima.
Okay, but whatever award he won was not my point. The fact that he won an award, it provides you the opportunity to do other things. He was consequently, because of his notoriety, he was consequently able to do other things. He did movie scores. This is my point. Viola Davis, because she was an EGOT, she might not have been getting paid the money she should be paid, but she was able to produce, her and her husband were able to produce The Woman King and bring it to the screen. The controversy is notwithstanding. What I'm saying, when you get these awards and you get these acknowledgments, it provides opportunities for you to do other things. Okay, like I had a film project, right? Mm-hmm. I was funding it myself, and we applied for a huge grant. We didn't get the grant. So we had to shut down production because I don't have an unlimited amount of money. That doesn't mean my project wasn't worthy. It just means that we didn't get the grant. And if I was a well-known person, I would have been able to get money from other sources. I wouldn't have had to rely on my own money. I wouldn't have had to apply for a grant. There would have been people that were willing to invest in me based upon what I had done previously. Now, I wanted to talk about the Dave Chappelle thing, but
let's start it off. I mean, here's the short version, right? Let's get us started into it. Dave Chappelle responded over the weekend to Katt Williams' interview with Shannon Sharpe. We know that it has become the #1 most viewed interview ever on YouTube. I believe it's just past 52 million views. So much so that it was parodied Lord, why can't I talk? It was parodied this weekend on SNL, right?
Right.
And you know, Dave at a show for Deon Cole's birthday took to the stage and basically admonished Katt, said that Katt should not have been up there saying those things because it's equivalent to black on black crime. So we'll get into what he said specifically, but what did you want to add?
Well, by the way, I thought Ego was hilarious as Katt Williams with SNL.
Yes,
it was just
she was.
absolutely hilarious. And then the other chick played the guy that had jumped on that jumped over and attacked
the ferry boat.
The judge. The
judge. Okay.
That was hilarious. I'm just loving SNL. But anyway, I think Dave Chappelle is being hypocritical because, for one, he shared about how when he was 12 years old or 13 years old, one of the older comedians stole one of his jokes and how he felt. And I didn't know that he had felt that Key and Peele had pretty much ripped off his show. I love Key and Peele. I saw that they really pushed the envelope even further than Dave Chappelle did on his show. And in fact, they were able to not only, they didn't have any hang-ups about, playing women characters, but multiracial characters, different ethnic groups. I thought Key and Peele were hilarious. And I was really surprised that he felt that they had ripped him off, but he had criticized Key and Peele and said that they had ripped off the Dave Chappelle show. I think he's being very hypocritical.
I mean, I can understand that. I can see that. I think, one, some of it is depending upon if people, saw the video that was snuck and recorded or if they just read it. I think some of what he was saying. I'm sorry?
Comedy Heights showed it.
Yeah, so I'm saying, but some people, not everybody watched it. Some people just read his comments. And I feel like, one, that might make a difference because there's some moments where he definitely was being a little facetious, not taking himself seriously. But I think overall it is this sort of stance where we need to be kumbaya and not tear the black man, each other down because we're in this fraternity, which you understand that line of thinking. But when you think about comedy and what it is inherently and what they do, the type of humor they put out, it is a little bit now, what you talking about, Willis? That's what you do every day, right? And so I think, one, nobody expected, because some of this stuff from Katt he has been saying for years.
Absolutely, for years. I didn't hear nothing. Well, a few things I did hear was new, but a lot of stuff he'd been saying all along.
But for some reason, this particular time, I guess because people started pulling the receipts, it just took off and it touched a lot of nerves, But I think some of it was just, I guess.
But did I not, Jill?
Yes.
Jill, did I not say that Katt was trying to promote something? He had a Netflix special. He was promoting his Netflix special.
I mean, but my thing with that is everybody's always promoting something.
Which I couldn't find, by the way.
The Netflix special.
Which I couldn't find, by the way.
I'm going to say that it wasn't his best. I'm going to say that it wasn't.
I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it. I got to find out. I got to Google the name of his new Netflix special, and then I'll find it that way, because I couldn't find it on Netflix.
It's not my favorite one, but
what's it called?
I don't remember. It pulled up under comedy because I watch a lot of comedy, I guess, on Netflix, comedy specials, but it definitely wasn't one of his better ones.
It wasn't memorable. But again, I'll just close with, I think Dave Chappelle is being very hypocritical. Now, Dave, he does criticize white people constantly in his stand-up. But, I just think he's being hypocritical. I mean, Katt didn't haze him, so he should just stay out of it.
Well, I heard that. I feel you on that.
He has every right. He has every right because it is his genre. But, I mean, Katt has every right to say what he's going to say. He doesn't want people telling him what he should be saying.
Absolutely not. He definitely does not.
Right. All right. So that's it. That's all. I'm back to my Twitter spaces.
Thank you, Fahima. We appreciate you. Andy?
I feel like sometimes we can't criticize each other.
It's hard, right?
Because, like, I hear where Dave Chappelle is coming from, but wouldn't you want to be criticized at least from your own people as opposed to somebody else?
That's what constructive criticism
You know what I'm
is.
saying?
I mean, to your point, I feel like, and I think it's something that we've always faced, where we don't want to look bad in front of company. We don't want them to know that there's fighting internally. We need to present this united front because they will conquer and divide, or divide and conquer, that type of thing. But I do think that we should be allowed to check each other respectfully. That if, I have an opinion, and I mean, it kind of goes back to the same conversation with Vivica Taraji and that whole thing.
Yeah.
Vivica said, I support those women. I want them to do well. But that wasn't my experience. And she should not be criticized for sharing her experience just because it doesn't line up. But I also understand that somebody will take Vivica's one statement of her one self and try and apply it to all and say, well, see, they're not being paid amount. That's just her crying. So it's a hard position for us to be in as Black people, because you want to be able to be assertive and to honestly critique work and say what you think without being worried that you're going to be bullied for having the wrong side of the opinion this week, because we know those wins flip and flop very, very easily.
Absolutely.
But I'm with you. Like, I understand Dave's perspective and thought process, but I think that to say what someone can and can't say gets really tricky, because we're all for it until the rabbit's got the gun and you are in the position where you need to defend yourself, explain something, or discuss how you have been done wrong, and people are looking at you like, maybe not right now.
I mean, people were saying the same thing when Stephen A. went in on Jason Whitlock.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on now, Jason Whitlock has been going in on Black people for years. So finally somebody, decides to step up and say something about him. It's like, oh, Stephen A. shouldn't have said that. He should have did this behind closed doors. And a lot of people don't know, or, they probably don't remember, but there was a lot of people that was on that Club Shay Shay couch talking mess about Katt Williams.
Correct.
Katt Williams finally gets his opportunity. You don't think that he's going to at least address everything that's been said about him on that couch? Like, come on. So you telling me that I can't defend myself? I don't care who it is.
Right. They included my name in those runoffs. The chat is lit. Urban Spinster said that Key and Peele skit. I said, well, I can't say the word on the air. Just came back to me. It's hilarious. She also said, when Dave said hurt people, but I'm a hurt person. I've never hurt anyone. The LGBTQ plus community definitely caught bullets from Dave. So I just think that everything sounds all good until we're the one in the square. So for me, I say within reason, let people say what they want. And you can choose to counter. You could be Stevie Wonder, Beyonce to the BS, however you want to approach it. But I am leery to say you shouldn't say anything. Even though I feel like people overshare on social media, I still feel it is your right. And sometimes trying to, protect us also allows a certain climate of, degeneracy to a degree to flourish, because we don't necessarily get to speak up because we're so busy protecting us. We don't get to say, hey, that's a little tricky over there. I don't know if I like that for us. Andy.
And once again, till this day, we're almost at the end of the month. Ain't nobody pushed back on the exact things that Katt Williams had to say. Nobody ever said that he was wrong.
They push back on stuff like, we know he wasn't reading no 3,000 books a day. We know that too. We know that too. That's not what we want answers for. I mean, it just, listen, it got a lot of things going, because the question is sort of, what's your limit? What's the limit to your truth? You are okay with revealing your truth, your opinions, but you blister when someone else is on the other side of that, you know? So I don't know. We will have to see what happens next. Fahima says, Dave says whatever he wants to. Why can't Katt speak his truth? He's being a hypocrite. Little bit. Listen, when we come forward, we'll have more on this topic. We're also going to get into that Jennifer Hudson and Common story I was telling you about. All of that and more on the other side. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
More when we come forward. Jim Gaffigan here with some more Straight Talk. Now you can get a Walmart Plus membership, plus not pay for it, because it's included with Straight Talk wireless plans. You get free delivery with Walmart plus a Paramount Plus subscription included. Plus, you pay less for gas. That's a lot of pluses.
Only Straight Talk gives you unlimited 5G data and Walmart Plus included on select plans for free.
Straight Talk Wireless, available at Walmart.
Requires service on Gold or Platinum Unlimited. One offer per eligible account. Paramount Plus Essential Plan only. Separate registration required. Additional terms apply.
You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580, where climate is king. KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment. LA's 99 neighborhood councils form the grassroots level of the Los Angeles city government. The system was created to connect LA's diverse communities to City Hall. While neighborhood council board members are volunteers, they are also public officials elected to office by the members of their community. Neighborhood councils advocate on issues like homelessness, housing, land use, emergency preparedness, public safety, parks, transportation, and sustainability. They also provide local expertise on the delivery of city services to their various communities. Neighborhood councils are open to participation by anyone who is a part of the fabric of daily life in said community. This includes those who live, work, or own property or a business. If you are interested in stepping up to join your local neighborhood council, visit www.empowerla.org. That's empowerla.org. It's time to think globally, but act locally. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Watch out! You got me! The galaxy is safe once again.
In the pretend universe, kids play with pretend guns. In the real world, it's up to us to make sure they don't get their hands on a real gun. If you have a gun in the house, keep it locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Some people just know the best places to eat around town. Those are the people who know to choose Allstate. They know exactly where to go to get exactly what you're wanting. They know where to find the spiciest hot pot, the gooeyest brownies, and the tenderest, most flavorful portobello steak. Those people also know that safe drivers save 40% with Allstate.
Saving 40% is based on the national average premium savings for Allstate auto customers with a clean driving record versus those without. Savings vary by state and vary based on how you buy, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
Welcome back into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. So let's get to some of what Dave actually said while he was on stage. So he opened up with, I love a lot of people, but I love Katt more than most people. And that naysayer is wild, right? He said, I'm at war with the Illuminati too. But what part of the war is ethering Cedric the Entertainer? He said, Katt said, I'm disbanding the Illuminati and I'm starting with Cedric the Entertainer. He said, Cedric is a good dude. He's old. This is what Dave Chappelle said, not what Jill said. He's old. He's fat. Leave him alone. And when Dave allegedly saw that a woman was live tweeting about his jokes, he told the audience, "Don't tweet about or tell anyone what I'm saying because this Katt Williams beef is hot." So, again, some of it, a little facetious, some of it not. He also said, Marlon Wayans called and told me that what Katt Williams did on Club Shay Shay was good for comedy. And he said, he, being Dave Chappelle, no, it isn't. When D. Ray, who was in the audience there, got on stage and tried to defend Katt, Dave shut it down and was like, no, it's not. Shut the blank up. And he argued that also how Katt's interview dropped the same day or close to his new Netflix special, and it overshadowed him. He said, I released a special the same day, and Katt came out saying, I read 6,000 books. What are you bleep talking about? So, again, I think some of it was all in good fun, but I do think that he meant what he was saying about, wanting to keep the comedy fraternity tight. Andy?
Well, I'm glad that Dave Chappelle actually said he's at war with. I'm glad that he said that. But, after you reading that, I'm like, I can see how he could be facetious about what he's saying. But I don't think this is a detriment to any type of comedians at law. I think, if anything, this is helping all comedians because people want to pay to see or hear what they have to say in response. So I think it's a great thing.
I mean, he also added, and this part I think is interesting, what part of the game is this? He only ethered naysayers. He didn't say anything about any of these white boys. None of these white boys function like that. Katt is one of the best painters in the game. So why are you drawing ugly pictures of us? Stop.
Yeah, and he talked about Weinstein several times.
So, obviously, this is not going to be the last that we're going to hear about this topic. I remind you, it hasn't even been 3 weeks since that interview dropped. Feels like it's been forever. Uh-oh. Andy?
If Shannon Sharpe is smart, he'll bring back Katt Williams, bring on Cedric the Entertainer, bring on Ricky Smiley, and everybody else that Katt Williams aired out. Have a special edition of Club Shay Shay. We're going to have a table sitting.
Oh, they'll never do it.
I feel like it would be big money.
But they'll never do it. They'll never do it.
If you guys are listening, try to organize that because I think that'll be big money for everybody.
Because some of those questions, I don't think everybody wants to answer. They've moved past certain aspects of it, or they don't find it relevant now. And I can certainly understand that. Listen, when we come forward, we're going to get into more trending topics and headlines. We are going to talk about Jennifer Hudson and Common. We're going to get into Jeannie Mae and Jeezy. She says she was coerced to sign the prenup. We're also going to get into some other trending topics and headlines. Candace Owens. She says that Ariana Grande is the leader of the Garden Tool Posse. All of that and more, you're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
LAPD gambling, scrambling, football number slandering. Names on paper, you snitched all summer. Streets don't fail me now. They tell me it's a new gang in town. From Compton to Congress. Set tripping all around. Ain't nothing new but a fluid new Democrats and rebel against red state versus a blue state. Which one you governing? They give us guns and drugs, call us thugs, making they promise to with you. No condom, they with you. Obama say what it do.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. Maryland Governor Wes Moore's 2025